Yeah, maybe we make gyms free in Canada. People chase vices because they're lacking in other aspects of their life. Where can you actually have your impact? Is it in the comment section or is it with your actions? I've always done the things that I genuinely love to do. If I didn't love doing what I'm doing, then I wouldn't do it. Never felt a desire to drink, party, smoke, do any of these different things. I've always felt a desire to be in the gym. And so I've never once regretted a time that I've been in the gym.
Living such a insane lifestyle at 30, like pro athlete, do you think you missed out on anything? We live in an age where a teenager can become world famous for a six-pack and could lose themselves in the process, where the human body has become both a billboard and a prison, where the line between authenticity and illusion is blurred by filters, hormones, and algorithms. Today, we're speaking with someone who's lived all of it. Fame before adulthood, veins and abs at 5% body fat, millions of followers watching every single move. Tristyn Lee is in the house, brother. Pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
How's it going, man? How's your experience in Malta right now?
It's been pretty crazy. I mean, it's been chaotic. I'm exhausted and sick, as I had told you guys. So I'm kind of pulling my way through. But no, it's been a good experience so far. You guys have definitely hosted me well and shown me Malta pretty well so far. So if you guys don't come to Malta, you have to be here.
Yes, sir. I got into the gym 10 years ago, bro, and you were already popping up on my feed. And I was like, this guy is like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And you were playing football predominantly. I remember like the football aspect with the shreds, the physique was quite insane. So my first question is related to the whole soccer, football aspect. So from soccer to bodybuilding, you've been passionate about soccer since you were a kid and even trained in Europe to pursue a pro career. But a few years ago, you pivoted fully to bodybuilding. What led you to step away from soccer and go all in on weight training? Do you miss the competitive side of sports, or do you find that you get the same fulfillment from those 4 a.m. weight room sessions where it's just you and the weights?
So where do I even start there? I've always been passionate about bodybuilding, even when I did play soccer. And so like that was always the thing that I was reaching for when I was training. I was in Spain, I was in London, and I was training 3 times a day with my team. And then on top of that, I'd still be searching for the time periods between those sessions to go and find a weight room for myself. So I think I've always been led and driven towards being in the gym. And I think that having some sort of personal pursuit aside from a team or group pursuit led me more down that path, where I found that the more work that I put in, the more that I get out of it directly, and I can see those results. So I think only being reliant upon the things that I'm in control of really drove me towards that, aside from the team sport. And it was really the the thing that drove me away from playing football is when they wanted me to come over there and live in the facilities. And this was during the time period where things were locked down in Spain, and they wanted me to eat the food that they were giving, which wasn't quality food, and you're only allowed outside for a certain amount of time. And I knew I wouldn't be able to go and weight train and work out. And then, I said to myself, like, I have this thing with bodybuilding that's going off, and I'm here with my brothers who also enjoy bodybuilding and social media and all these different aspects. And I could either coop myself up here in a hotel where I'm not able to eat the foods that I need to eat to perform optimally, train the way I need to train to perform at my best, or I could make this switch and transition now where I can pursue the business aspect, my true passion, which is going and finding the weight room, and then also be around my family at the same time. So that kind of transitionary period where they were telling me that basically I wouldn't be able to do the things that I genuinely was trying to find the time to do was what led me ultimately to fully go into the bodybuilding world and fitness scene.
What were they feeding you, bro?
I mean, they wanted to feed like the chicken nuggets and just garbage foods. Like, it's just not, it's crazy. Like you reach high level sports, whether it's in the US with universities or in Spain and London, and these like clubs that are supposed to be feeding you like the best quality foods. You think that these like nutrition coaches that understand nutrition.
This was a La Liga team?
No, it wasn't. No, it was like second division, third division teams in both London and
Either
Spain.
or.
But you expect these coaches to understand nutrition, or at the very
pro
least
level.
have someone that does understand nutrition. And so when I was over there, it was definitely a surprise to me. But I also think that because I was so young, a lot of the kids don't even understand nutrition in the first place. They just didn't have access to that information. And so because of my own personal research and endeavors, I had more of a greater understanding of like, I was already dieting since I was 13 years old. I was already focused on my training, focused on my recovery, focused on all the things that were allowing me to perform at a level that I wouldn't otherwise be able to. And so they said basically like, we're not going to be able to provide those facilities or the access to the foods that you need to cook your own food, or even like kitchens and things like that. So it was kind of an easy line to draw for myself to say, if I'm not going to be able to perform at the level that I need to perform
Yeah.
at in order to progress to the next level, then it doesn't even make sense being there at all. You know?
Yeah. Must have been a hard decision, huh?
Initially, yes. But with my family and just praying about it a lot, it kind of ultimately brought me to a very clear line that I drew. So, yeah.
Interesting, bro. We saw you for the most part. I mean, we've never seen you almost apart from recently, not fully shredded.
Yeah.
So this question is gonna be more posed on the fact that you've spent such a long time being shredded. So in your late teens, you maintained an almost unreal 4%, 5% body fat,
Yeah.
basically a human anatomy chart, like I said in the gym, to keep up with your incredible physique on social media. You've mentioned that constantly chasing that look led to some serious body dysmorphia and bad relationships with food. What toll did staying that shredded take on you physically and mentally? And how did you realize it was time to prioritize your health over appearance?
It wasn't like one singular point. I think it was progressive over time, and I think the draw away from competitive sports, where I had a performance aspect, kind of led me towards that, where you're solely focused on bodybuilding or just the body or subjective aspects of things like getting leaner and leaner and leaner, or getting a better video or a better photo. That's kind of like what drew me more towards that, rather than saying I need to perform on the field, so I need to fuel myself to perform on the field. And so
Yeah.
over time, you kind of come to a realization that, okay, well, I haven't put on muscle in however many years, or I haven't progressed in the gym as much as I need to progress or want to progress. And it gets boring for yourself because I've always been someone who's chased progression, whether it's like academically or with the sports that I'm doing. I've always just been driven towards progress. That's what I fell in
Results.
love
Yeah.
with. And yeah, I am very like results oriented. So
Yeah.
when I took a step back and objectively looked at it, I was like, well, I haven't made as much progress as I really want to. And like, what is the end goal of this? Is it just to maintain this just for the rest of my life, or is it something where I really want to actually genuinely make progress in? And so a lot of people have said that like the social media aspect must have played into it heavily. Well, you were trying to maintain a certain level of leanness for social media, and although maybe subconsciously or not, it is part of it. I think I more so am just someone who's so built in habit and routine that I built myself a habit and routine that led itself to me being that body fat percentage or me being that lean. And that just led me down the line of just pushing it further, further, and further down extremes. And so when I came out of that, it was the opposite end of the spectrum where, I pushed into an off season and I made tons and tons of progress. And as soon as I saw that progress, it kind of gave me a more level headed aspect of perspective on what I need to do to actually make more progress again within the gym, but also within social media.
So since you're so locked in, you staying this shredded because of your routine is effortless. Because people, like for example, for me, maybe I locked in for prep,
Yeah.
and now I'm off prep, and I'm like noticing that like my tracking and stuff gets loose. But for you, since you managed to keep yourself so locked in,
Mhm.
you're saying that staying shredded all year round for many years isn't as hard as it's maybe made out to be.
It's all genetics, right? So I mean, I've always been lean. I've never held in a significant amount of body fat. Before last year, I was always sub 10% body fat before I did that off season. So I depending on your genetics, you're going to be able to have a different body fat set point. And for me, is a lot easier than I know it is for other people. But I definitely do think like my nutrition and my training regimen does support that level of leanness, being that level of leanness, or being whatever level of leanness that I want to be for my particular goals at that time. So yeah, like I've always said that it's easier for me to stay fully locked in and draw a hard line and say I'm not going to cheat on my diet. I'm going to stick to my diet plan. I'm going to track my macros. I'm going to track my steps. I'm going to program my training than it is to say, one day I'm going to go off, or I'm going to have this one meal here or one meal there. It's like every single time that you have this decision fatigue where you're having to make a decision each day of whether or not I'm going to pursue or choose to eat or not eat something. It's mentally fatiguing. And so I think that's where a lot of people, they fall off the wagon, is when they keep giving themselves this opportunity to make the wrong decision rather than just drawing that hard line from the get-go and then building the habits that actually build a successful routine towards your goals.
Did this like lifestyle have an effect of your childhood growing up, making friends, hanging out with different kids? Because I assume that you are such an outlier with your lifestyle being so shredded apart from your genetics that maybe some kids wouldn't want to fuck with you at school because you are so shredded.
I don't
Or you
know.
found your group.
I mean, I've always found my group. I think because I was involved in like sports and athletics, that really made me like it wasn't really a huge topic of conversation. Like we all just played sports, and so like our focus was performance on the field or in the gym or whatever.
So what if like you're hanging out with, for me, like in Malta, it's very culturally normal to you're with your group of friends and you're with their parents and they just go on a quick trip to McDonald's. Would you go to McDonald's anyways
So
with the
I
family?
remember playing soccer or football with some of my buddies, and after they'd always go and get McFlurries or whatever it is. And so they're like, "Okay, where can we go that Tristyn can eat something?" Like, "Oh, McDonald's has apple slices," so I'd go and have
Oh,
my
man.
apple slices, and they're eating that. So that was kind of like my first, I guess, aspect of okay, well, I'm kind of an outlier in the friend group as far as this goes. But I mean, I was blessed enough to have a good friend group that understood. They didn't really. It was never a bullying thing, or it was never like you're an outcast. It was more of like a curiosity. It's like it's interesting, and then also there was a degree of respect I think that they had built to say like, okay, maybe like how could I do this as well, or like it's pretty good that someone who's like 13 14 years old or however old I was at the time can stay so locked in when they're surrounded by all these different things within the cultures that's like these foods that are so accessible, especially for kids. So
Yeah.
And
And living such a insane lifestyle at 13, like pro athlete, do you think like you missed out on anything?
socially, I mean, it depends what you mean by miss out. I've always done the things that I genuinely love to do. If I didn't love doing what I'm doing, then I wouldn't do it. And so in that sense, no, I don't feel like I missed out. I've never felt a desire to drink, party, smoke, do any of these different things. I've always felt a desire to be in the gym. And so I've never once regretted a time that I've been in the gym or I've been on the field or put time towards that or put time towards the things that make me feel better. So I couldn't say that I feel like I've missed out. Yeah.
because you've never
Nice.
felt that you needed them anyway. So.
No, I feel like people chase vices because they're lacking in other aspects of their life. And so for me, because I'd filled those voids with gym and progression and my nutrition and knowledge on these certain areas, I didn't feel like I need to fill the void with anything else.
But you never ate a Big Mac with your friends.
I don't know. I don't,
Cap.
maybe when I was like
Cap.
11, the last cheat meal I had,
11.
yeah, I mean, I haven't had McDonald's
When was
in
your last
years.
cheat meal?
The last cheat meal would have been probably 8 years ago, 9 years
Oh
ago.
my God.
Yeah. So
And what was that cheat meal?
I don't remember now, man, but it's
8
probably
years ago, bro. That's a while.
Yeah, it was probably. I mean, over the years, I've experimented with creating like healthy, like protein treats and things like that, but not like full on cheat meals. It was probably like, actually, it was probably like a gummy candy or something like that. It wasn't like a full cheat
So this
meal.
was the time when you went viral at around 15 years old, no?
So I started
years?
dieting. I started dieting before I went viral. So like I started dieting at 13, and then I started posting content at 15. So it wasn't like I got shredded for social media. It was
No,
like
no,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
for sure.
training for performance, and then I documented some of my journey and broadcasted that to
That's
social media.
crazy.
So yeah.
Like even just thinking about it, 8 years is I don't know how many months, how many weeks. 8 by 12, it's insane. A cheat meal, one
Yeah.
cheat meal.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And like I want to ask you a question as well, because becoming famous at 15 is quite it's a feeling that no one really experiences. It might have it good and it's good. It might have its good and it might have its cons as well. So my question is, was there any hidden cost of becoming successful at 15? Like, was there something that nobody might know of that is a lot harder to go through at that age? Like, you were everywhere, bro.
You don't. I can't. It's hard to say because I never experienced a different life, and so I don't know what it was like to grow up normally. So I guess if when you're talking about what's the differences or what's the sacrifices or what's the downfall of it, is that I never got to experience that perspective. So I only know what I know. But it did bring more pressure on me for sure to create content and to build a business out of it as the years progressed. But that was only as the years progressed. I've always been blessed enough to have a family that supported me. I've had my brothers around me since day one. My parents have always been 100% supportive of whatever I want to do. So only at the point when life started to get real and you start to grow up and you say, okay, what am I going to do with this thing that I have in front of me? Did it start to build more pressures? And because now we have businesses that might support myself and my family and things like that, there is more pressure to withhold. But that was only past the point where I'd fully gone in and saying this is now my job, this is going to be my life.
So you started publishing content at 15 years old, right? When was the first time you got recognized in public, and what did you feel when that moment happened?
It's very interesting because I started filming content at the same time that I did a guest posing for someone that at my local gym, and you guys have probably seen these videos now. And so this pro bodybuilder in Canada approached me, and he saw me at 4 a.m. Just training by myself at the time. And that was the only time that I was allowed to train in the gym, because later on in the day I would get kicked out because I was too young for training. So he did a pro show, out there, and he said, I would love for you to come and guest pose. And at this time, my brothers were getting into the bodybuilding world. So I said, I mean, I guess so. I mean, maybe I was blindly confident at that point for being a 14, 15-year-old kid. But he invited me out. And so at that time, I had started to get the recognition of just the people that were generally in my area. I don't come from like Los Angeles or anything like that. I'm from a small town outside of Toronto, Canada. And so the recognition started with just like people that saw me with the guest posing and stuff. So that was the first real recognition. And then when I started producing social media content, it was weird to like to first meet someone. But like I said, it's the coolest experience in the world because it's like, how could something that I just am so genuinely passionate about produce something where people recognize me or call me by name that they know so much about me and I
Like
know
they know
nothing
you.
about them. You know what I mean?
That's
So
insane.
it's a cool experience the first time it happens, and I don't think it ever really gets old.
That's insane. And was there ever a moment when you realized like, fuck, like now I'm famous, like people know me and the pressure's on?
Not really. I mean, honestly like I don't feel like famous. I think because I haven't changed my lifestyle at all. We joke about this all the time with my brothers. Like I'm still the cameras there or not, I'm still up at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. training in the gym. And so because my lifestyle is so oriented around just doing what I genuinely love, it doesn't feel that different to me. Um, but like I said, once it started to become a business and stuff, I guess those sort of things start to make you realize like the gravity of like how massive and how much of a blessing it is to have this platform. And then like when you hear genuine stories with people, when you go to expos or when you come out here and meet you guys or meet other people like around the world that have been impacted in a positive way through your content or your story, then that's when you would kind of genuinely appreciate the blessing that it is to have the platform.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you like, how do you keep your feet on the ground? But I genuinely think that from meeting you for the past 4 days, you've been known for 8, 10 years, like we've been saying. But I just genuinely feel like you've just started out, which is
Hmm.
the case. I feel like you're fresh. I feel like you're sharp. You like got so much to
Yeah,
build and so much to grow. And
for sure.
I feel that. What's your like goal in the next 2 years?
It's funny you say that because I feel like an old head now in the industry. Like I feel like I've been in this. Like people are like they talk to me and they're like, "Oh well, I remember seeing you back when I was like 15 they were 15 as well, and now I'm 23 years old." But it's crazy to me. I mean, over the next years, I just want to continue doing content. Like it's genuinely what I enjoy doing. I like making my videos. I like experiencing what I experience, and I'm genuinely passionate about bodybuilding in the fitness world. And so, as much as I can document that and hopefully share my story along the way, then whoever chooses to follow and hopefully can learn something along the way, then I'm grateful to have them along my journey.
I loved your video of the bulk
Yeah,
to cut because it's so relatable and people always knew you for the
the
being
shred.
interested and
Yeah,
most likely you've learned a lot. People gain this new respect. So I think it's just pursuing new projects in your like Tristyn Lee brand
for
and
sure.
coming up with new creative concepts around that and maybe trying to find something no one's done. Because I recently did a small post on LinkedIn last week. I'm like, there's a finite amount of ideas. It's now like who conquers them before and who conquers them the best.
For sure.
Like there's never going to be this new idea unless we just discover Mars and get on Mars and
Yeah.
can create this new whole universe of new ideas from
Mhm.
the pool we're in. But from what we've got, it's like finite and it's like different individuals coming from different walks of life need to take those ideas, but with doing it in the right execution. Imagine I come up with this like really cool concept, but if Mr. Beast does it better than me and Mr. Beast is huge,
Yeah.
then he conquered it.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing that you guys have done here, right? With the free gyms. It's something that nobody has really done before. And so
Yeah.
to see, I guess, more of a philanthropic aspect, even though it's just something that you guys are genuinely passionate about, but to see it through to actual success where you're actually having an impact on people's lives. You're not just talking about it through social media. It's cool to see and it's unique to see, especially in the fitness world, because a lot of the fitness world is like, look at me, look at me, look at me. And maybe I'm guilty of this as well. But like what you guys have done to impact the lives of not only just other people, but kids in particularly who are probably like looking for their way in this world is super impactful.
That
It's
was
cool to
such a
see.
funny. That was such a funny thing. Sorry, I just cut you off at the end. But the look at me. We forgot about that totally. And when we made gyms free, I realized I was out of shape because
Yeah.
I was so focused on coming up with these ideas for the
Yeah.
culture of gym. Because for me, it's like I've been training for 10 years, always put on that size, but I was never like pursuing to look a certain way. Not because I wasn't. I took it for granted that I'd do that. I
Yeah.
want to get on harder things already. So my brain already jumped onto the hardest challenges before just conquering the physique. And
Yeah.
now after doing the whole show, people are saying, "Oh, this guy is actually jacked in real life.
Yeah.
He's actually the guy who talks about fitness." But my brain already went 3 steps ahead
For sure.
and forgot to actually look good as well. Because now I notice, like, okay, we're posing in front of like in public and in different places. But at the end of the day, it does help our business. Like
Yeah.
I did the posing pays bills, and it does.
It
for
makes you
us, you know.
marketable.
And
Yeah.
the more shredded we are, the bigger maybe we develop our shoulders and biceps, the more engagement we get. The more
For sure.
engagement we get, the bigger chance we have of getting to the right sponsors, the right products.
Everything's visual.
The
Yeah.
body is the billboard, but the mind is the business.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's true, and
That's
I'm
good.
still like trying to get to that point where, okay,
Yeah.
like, man, I think it's about time. Like, I need to look good as well now too, you know.
You're in the right place.
So I'm
Need to
trying
do
to
Shred
look in a
Fest.
bit more. Yeah,
He's
maybe
trying to get a free
participate in
gym as
Shred
well,
Fest.
huh?
Yeah, maybe I get free gym one day as well. It's crazy. So, brother, obviously you are known as the shredded kid online. Like, there are millions of kids who want your physique. You've done every single diet in the book. From your experience, what is the best diet to gain muscle?
To gain muscle. So what I'll say is that the overarching thing, the most important thing is that you're eating enough food overall. And that's one thing that I've learned, whether it's through the carnivore diet, which I did for years, whether it's through eating higher carbs, whether it's doing ketogenic diet, you have to eat enough food to support muscle growth, which is just being in some sort of caloric surplus while doing the training as well. So I don't like putting blanket statements over nutrition things because I think people follow them, and then when things don't work the way they expect, they don't adjust, and then it's just not a positive outcome for themselves. So the first thing I'll say is that you have to experiment to see what does work for you, and whatever that you can stick to from like a sustainability aspect and a consistency aspect, that's going to be the best diet for muscle growth. Because if you can't adhere to the diet, adherence is the number one reason why people fail diets in the first place. That being said, there are pillars that you can put into place to fuel your performance in the gym. Having some sort of energy source, some sort of carbohydrate or fat, will support muscle growth in the gym. And for a lot of people, carbohydrates are better because they're a little bit faster digesting and they're able to fuel gym performance better than fats are. But like I said, you have to kind of experiment for yourself. So I don't think that there's one particular diet. I think that you need to experiment and see what works for you. And then over time, you have to be focused on progressing in here. And whatever diet supports progression within the gym is going to be the best diet for muscle growth.
Yeah. And I'm sure you get a lot of questions. Like, imagine a 15-year-old kid asking you, and I'm sure you get millions of these. Oh, Tristyn, how do I get as shredded as you?
Yeah.
What's your
Genetics? Hire my parents.
advice?
A lot of it is genetics, I will say. But for me, I think a big factor has been cutting out just eating single ingredient foods, eating whole foods, because I think a lot of people, they choose convenience over picking the foods that are going to support performance. And so with that comes a lot of like processed foods, which the issue isn't necessarily the processing, but the issue is that this is a culmination of a bunch of high calorie ultra processed foods that are hyper palatable that you just eat a ton of. It's super easy to overconsume. You guys are talking about McDonald's or Burger King or any of these, or like any of these sweets or pastries that you were talking about even here. It's just super easy to overconsume these foods. So as soon as you kind of narrow it down, and I'm sure you've experienced this even when you went into a bodybuilding prep, you narrow it down to these set foods that you can only eat, or you're only going to eat single ingredient foods. It's really hard to overconsume just eating, lean ground beef or chicken and rice and potatoes, right? As opposed to these hyper palatable foods. So I think that's the easiest first step that people can make, is being conscious and aware of what that ingredient list is on the foods that they're consuming, and then slowly tapering that down to more whole foods as we were supposed to eat,
Yeah, I think even for me, when I did the whole 8 week, I really locked in for 8 to 10 weeks, let's say. But what I really learned, and still till today, I can say I'm still good with it in terms of like the food. Before, I used to eat a lot of, like, I used to order food, I used to go to restaurants,
Yeah.
and I used to get spoiled with the taste of good food.
Yeah.
Still, the food I prep at home now after going through the prep, to me, it still tastes good. So
You appreciate
my
it.
palate has adjusted.
For sure.
And now when I taste like the awesome restaurant food, it tastes even better.
Yeah.
And the normal food tastes still good. But before, when I used to indulge all the time, the normal healthy food used to taste shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just forcing myself to do that for at least 4 to 6 weeks. Obviously, you can season and whatnot, but still, there is some some shit they put in the food that tastes better. Like when you're eating from out, obviously
Sure.
you're paying for it. There are chefs behind it. I'm no chef.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for 15, 20 years. Obviously, there's people who are going to do it better than me when it comes to food.
For sure.
But what I learned is to actually appreciate and respect the food that we're putting in, like the minced beef, the turkey, the eggs. Like today, where I told Romeo went to smash the legwork. I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy going to the supermarket, buying our beef rump and mincing it,
Mhm.
our pesto and rice, and it was the best lunch we
Mhm.
had the last 2-3 days. But yeah, like you're saying, you get used to it, and your taste buds respect the food.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the overconsumption of like sweet foods and like getting that
Yeah.
dopamine hit from
That's it.
foods over and over. It's the
Instant
same thing as scrolling
gratification, yeah.
scrolling Instagram
Literally,
or whatever it is.
yeah.
People search for it in different ways, and a
Yeah.
lot of people search for it, their comfort within the foods that they're eating. And so when I cut it out and I put that hard line and saying I'm not having any more sweets, I'm not having any more sugars, I'm not having carbs at the time, and then eventually just reintroducing simple carbs like rice and potatoes, which aren't extremely hyper palatable, you don't crave it anymore. You stop craving these foods. And I think most people, when they realize how good they feel and how little they crave these things, that it allows them to focus on the things that actually genuinely matter and appreciate the food that's on their plate rather than just take it for granted and just consume. It didn't used to be like this. Back before, it was like if you were impoverished or anything like that, you'd be starving. But now it's like if you're impoverished, food is so accessible. So now people are just over consuming.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the first step is being aware. I think most people just avoid the truth and just, like we were saying, sort of instant gratification, buy into the product, into the bad food. And I think that's a problem. And we see that a lot in Malta as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's one of the most obese countries in the world. The fast food is everywhere. Even the healthy food is really not macro friendly at all.
Yeah.
So we're trying to come up with something to try and change a bit of the narrative, like we did with the gyms, with maybe a bit more food focus, because food is the number one thing on the list to tackle, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if you change your food even before you get in the gym, it's a easier lever to pull. It doesn't matter how many hours. I always say, like, eat to fuel your training, don't train to fuel your eating. So a lot of people will come in here and they'll try to work off the food that they ate. But the reality is, if you were to just drop your food down a little bit or be more aware and mindful of how much food you're consuming as a whole, you don't have to do all of this cardio or all of this work or try to burn it all off, which at the end of the day, it's just not sustainable or it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I have a theory. I'd like you to stress test this because I was discussing with someone and I was like, this light bulb moment. So gym bros versus gym girls. I'm gonna be straight up. Gym girls, they don't train as hard, but they care about what they're eating more. Gym bros will train their ass off, but when it comes to food, they're a bit more lenient. Do you think this is true? And if you think it's true, why it's kind of true?
I don't know if that's true. I've never really even thought about that very much. I know like from my experience, like I think it's just the guys just generally eat a lot more than girls do. They just pay more attention to like they're just hungrier in general.
Don't you feel like the girls are more focused on what they're eating though?
Possibly.
Versus guys who just want to eat and just train hard.
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely to come from like the guys just like one, they enjoy food, but like they like the aggressiveness of being in the gym or the passion and the like training and stuff, and it's not really something that lends itself to like a woman being as interested into that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think that is probably true, but I don't know why.
I observe this because when I train when I'm training with our followers, I'm observing. We're making gyms free, and I'm trying to see. Okay, maybe there are some issues that when I say we need to train harder, it might be more applicable for maybe girls versus guys, or the food. Maybe the girls are more locked in, like when they're coming to cook, when they're just more leaning towards that kind of vibe, versus the guys, they're going to lift heavy, but are they like
really aware of their
are they
food?
locking in with the food?
Yeah.
So I just noticed maybe a bit of a difference between gym bros and gym girls. I wanted to see, maybe you saw it, but anyways, now you'll take a note and
maybe
DM
I'll
me
start,
like, bro, you're right, or bro, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah, I'll be aware.
Yeah. And I want to ask you something about training. So you've been training for 10 years. We're talking about food now. How often do you suggest to train? Because most likely you've experienced burnout. And what do you do when you experience burnout? What do you do on your rest days? Do you have any special or secret recovery methods?
Nothing secret. I mean, I think the majority of things like people already know. Sleep 8 hours a night, eat enough food to support the training and activity that you're doing, and get your stress down as low as possible, which is easier said than done. People try to tout the benefits of ice baths and saunas and red light therapy and all these different things. And although I'd like the top level elite of the elite, yeah, maybe this over 10 years has a 0.1% difference that pushes you across that barrier. But for the average person who's just trying to get themselves in shape and improve their lifestyle habits, the most things that you can do are much more accessible than most people think. So training wise, the only time that I hit a point of overtraining was when I was training twice a day, 7 days a week, and trying to do 20,000 steps a day, basically, right? And
Two gym sessions a day as well.
usually 2 gym sessions. Yeah, sometimes it'd be chest in the morning, arms at night. Sometimes it'd be the same thing over and over. But that was at the point where I was just, like I said, I love being in the gym. So
You
if I
love
could
it,
be,
bro.
but then the realization came when I was like, okay, I'm just not making progress. I'm just like in the gym because I enjoy being in the gym, but I'm not making progress in the logbook and I'm not making progress in the mirror. So what's the point of even doing it? But I think most people, a good baseline, you can get most of your results training 3 to 4 times per week. And you're not going to get much more benefit going up to beyond 5 and 6 times. And as long as you're matching your volume of how much like sets you're doing with intensity per muscle group across those however many sessions you're doing in a week time period, then you're going to make similar gains. So
Twice a day, bro. That's just
yeah.
insane.
It's overtraining now. plain
I
plain
mean,
and straight.
as close as you could get to probably overtraining.
Fucking
Yeah.
crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You want to ask a question?
Yeah, I a good topic you brought up before, and I think it's something like we really focus on is creating impact through the content. So I
Yeah.
think like the majority of people are just really focused on the numbers on social media, getting that perfect physique, no matter how or what you need
Yeah.
to do to get it. And I think there's a whole craze on fake natties on socials at the moment, and it's been a thing. And like I think it's the fake natty epidemic isn't about steroids; it's about selling an impossible dream disguised as discipline. And I think it's now more than ever has really affected the Gen Z demographic into either being okay with taking on
Mhm.
these substances or just being completely oblivious on what is actually achievable
Sure.
and what's not. Um, so I want to see, like, from your experience being in the last 8 years, how have you seen this grow, this sort of ethos of the fake natties, and what is your opinion on the topic at hand? Like, what do you think um, the Gen Z demographic, like, what do you think the young kids need to take into consideration when even assessing somebody on socials?
I think that's the first step, right? Is that are you basing your expectations based off of what you're seeing from other people? Because most people get it wrong when they look at social media and they look up to their favorite influencers, whether they're
Yeah.
natural or not natural, and they base their performance or the progress that they make within the gym off of those people who have 1 in a million genetics or
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? Like these people are at that peak of social media for a reason when you look at the top influencers. And so to base your progress, you're to expect linear progress as though these people are putting out there on social media, not to mention that social media oftentimes is not like it's not real. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these people don't look like this all the time. They're just in the gym, and I'm the same way. It's not a realistic expectation to even set for yourself. So I think that chasing personal progress should always be the number one goal. And your limits are always going to be your limits, and those limits could surpass and supersede the people that you look up to, or they may be beneath them. But to know that whatever effort that I put in, if I put the most amount of effort and dedication into my own personal physique, my nutrition, my training, my knowledge in this thing, I'm going to get the best possible outcome for myself. So that's number one, what I think. And the second part is a little bit of a dichotomy where, over the years, it's become more transparent for people to be natural or not natural. And then there's also been like, there's more conversation around it in general. So I think more people have been led to believe that the limitations are so low. Like you cannot achieve anything without using these because they just expect that every
Yeah.
single influencer now on the internet is using gear. And that's the first thing that's put into their minds when they just start working out. Like when I first started training, I didn't have any of these expectations at all. All I saw was superheroes or anime characters or even pro level bodybuilders, and I thought, man, for them to craft such a like wonderful physique, I want to pursue something like that for myself. And when I set my expectations, it wasn't necessarily that I was going to achieve that physique, but it was going to be personal progress, and I was going to get to where I get to no matter where that endpoint is, as long as I dedicate myself 100% into it. So I don't have many thoughts. I believe that people should be open and transparent about what they do and do not do. But I also think that a lot of this transparency has turned into glorification for a lot of people, but and also a reason for kids and youth to have lower expectations of what their limits are. Actually, at the end of the day, the your genetics are going to be your genetics. My genetics are going to be my genetics. As much work and effort that you put into training and nutrition and all these different things, the most you're going to get out of it.
Yeah. The only problem is, what I'd love to say is that 10 years ago, you'd look at the most jacked people like Jeff Side and all of these
Yeah.
aesthetic guys, but you'd know they're way older than you.
Yeah, for sure.
But now the problem with these kids are they're the
Mhm.
same age as these kids starting out at the gym. So you'd see 16-year-old mass monsters or
Yeah.
18-year-old. And that's, I think, where we've oversold drama in terms of the
Yeah.
fitness industry. Like you'd see how Greg, Hussein, they're crafting it from a content creation background. I know what sells in terms of we have our own fighting event.
Sure.
Drama sells. So when you create this whole fake natty debate, it's gonna get their views up. It's gonna
For
make
sure.
them more
Yeah.
relevant.
Controversy always.
And then
Yeah.
obviously
Controversy.
you're gonna use that to leverage your businesses like anyone else would do. But the kids don't see through that as much. They would be maybe oblivious to it, especially the younger kids. And then what happens is you get these 3 genetically gifted kids who just decide to hop on, and they're mugging all the other kids.
Yeah.
And obviously you're like 15, and I get all these kids like in our Q&As on Close Friends. Bro, what's this like peptide strain? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice a peptide.
Yeah.
And these kids are all like in my DMs.
It's the first thing that's put into their minds, right? They come onto social media or they come into the fitness world, and the first thing that's put in their mind is, how can I take a shortcut to get to this
Yeah.
position? Not because I want to be the best possible or the healthiest or the highest performing athlete, but because I see what these kids have on social media. I
Yeah.
see they get this glory and this fame and all these different things. And so I think it just needs to be kind of a refocusing of where people are putting their attention and why they're in the gym in the first place. Like, why are you doing this? Is it just for clout? Is it just for social media? Or is it just to be the biggest and strongest person? Or is it genuinely because the gym has a good impact on your life? Like I said, when I got into fitness, I was focused on how can I perform best for soccer? And my mom got me into a ketogenic diet. And so I was more concerned about oxalates within spinach and things like that than I
Crazy.
was about whatever else, anyone else's progress within the gym. And so I think if people are more focused on how can I better myself,
What's your why?
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Because even about this conversation, what's interesting is, imagine the 15-year-old Tristyn today.
Yeah.
Would he go as viral as he did 8 years ago?
I don't think so personally, just because I think it's so oversaturated with regards to like how many 15-year-old kids there were. Now I did when I first started, I had conversations with whether it was like Bradley Martyn or people who had been in the industry for years before, and they said, put your voice out there and start speaking about your story and start telling your story. And so I made videos about it, how working out saved my life, how working out brought me from a place of insecurity to now being in a place of confidence, and eventually now building a whole business out of this sort of things. And so I was able to kind of cement myself in to some degree with people knowing who Tristyn is and not just who the 15-year-old shredded kid is. When people come up to me on the streets, they say Tristyn, they don't say whatever XYZ or ask me to do XYZ thing, you know what I mean? And so I think now people are searching for the ways to separate themselves, and that's a little bit more difficult than what it was, because I was the only 15-year-old kid in the gym. I saw it. Like, there was very few that I know. Like, Sawyer Klatt was in the gym. I don't know if you guys know who that is. Anthony Mantello was in the gym at the time, and there's a few people that were there. But these people are across the world, and nobody had started their social medias yet. And so now it's way more prevalent to start gym at a young age, which is a great thing. But it also makes it a bit more difficult to separate yourself from a social media aspect,
Yeah.
I'll ask you this, since we're talking about all this. Where do you see the fitness industry in 10 years from now? You've been in it, like, I've followed the industry now for 10 years.
Yeah.
And more or less you've been 10 years in the industry. Where do you see this go? To be honest, like the whole thing of the free gyms, I was expecting more brands and people to actually fuck with it. Like,
I think they will. I
like
think it's just a matter of time.
I was in talks with the Gymshark CBO. He
Yeah.
left it dead. I'm like, guys, there's such a issue with the whole fake natties. Like there's so many like companies signing off these young guys who are just getting blowing
Sure.
up, and they're missing some messages that could change or could at least add a bit of balance to the whole fitness scene? Because I know what generates views.
You want it to be a more positive outlook on
Yeah,
what
They're
the fitness
missing the
world is.
point,
Yeah,
basically.
for sure.
yeah.
I mean that's what the fitness industry is, right? Is that it's like a whole bunch of egos put together where everybody's trying to stir up some sort of
Yeah.
controversy, and I think what you guys are doing, where you're kind of pulling it back into what is the root, like why are we doing this in the first
Yeah.
place? Like why are you in the gym in the first place, and what impact has that had on your life, and how can you share that to the people around the world? And you guys are doing a great
You
job
feel
with
like
that.
they're become like what happens is it's called like audience fatigue,
Yeah.
and it's a bit of trust. Like if you're even a 16-year-old starts not even trusting the industry, like are we gonna get them into the industry? Are we gonna get them to events? Are we
Well,
gonna get
most
them?
people say, "What's the point?" Right?
Yeah.
There's no point. Why would I go to something that I have no belief or faith in at all? Right? So I think the social media industry, especially with fitness, is shifting. I think it's shifting more to individualism, where you get creators like Sam Solek or even Chris Bumstead at the top of the bodybuilding world, where growing not only off of their physique and their accolades with what they've done with their physique, but also through their personalities and what they share as an individual that separates them from just being the viral kid on the internet. So when I started, I was the only 15-year-old shredded kid on the internet, and nowadays there's hundreds of 15-year-old shredded kids. And so what makes you different and what makes you stand out? It's the message that you put behind your brand and the personal brand that you built for yourself. And most people think that if I do this thing, or if I look like this person or that person, then I'm going to have what they have. But the truth is that all the top creators in the industry right now have something that you don't have, which is who they are as a person.
Yeah. And I mean, these 15-year-olds, like I was gonna ask you, what's your advice to these 15-year-olds now to get into social media? I mean, I would say, and then you can add to what I think, is that at 15 you need to document everything in the process. You need to show as much proof as you can. Then you get to a certain level where then you can do competitions, maybe try achieve a good deal with like a company like Gymshark, but at least show proof. Like do the thing so many times that people trust you for doing it. So it could be transforming someone, it could be getting a friend,
That's
getting them
why
into shape.
That's why I'm happy I documented it all along the way, because I get from the age of 15 to now 23, people have seen my entire life and seen me grown up all along the way. Like I took photos of everything, and even now when I look back and I see like I remember everything, not just only within that, but everything around that, and my community can kind of see with that as well. So I think that's a good starting point. Is like, okay, I'm gonna start filming and documenting everything, and then I think through that you start to notice trends in what separates you from the rest of people, what makes you different, what makes you unique, and then with that you lean into that. And I think it's a little bit naive to not look at what social media is doing as a whole, not look at trends, not look at algorithms, these sort of things, but also stay true to who you are, because that is what separates you at the core of what social media is.
And I was going to say, like, on the topic of what's wrong with the industry right now, I think it's so algorithm focused. Like if you're a new guy coming into the scene and you have 10, 20, 30 top creators who are getting millions of views, you're going to try and replicate the success of what they're doing as well. So I think then the controversy, the trends, all the noise is essentially what gets focused on, and people just miss the whole fucking point, miss the why, miss the reason of miss a bit more of the core. And I think that's a bit of the problem as well. So like people are so focused on having 30 million views a month, being consistent, getting that attention, and they'll do anything to get that view, because obviously they're competing with the big guys, even people like Mr. Beast. Like it's an attention game.
Oh, you have to set the bar for yourself too, right? Like what do you want to do? Like what do you want to do? Are you doing this for just social media views, which some people are, and like who are you to judge someone else for doing so? Mr. Beast has made it very clear that like his goal is to be the number one entertainer in the world across the board. So he's going to do whatever it takes, but he is that number one creator. So he's setting these trends, and he's going to do something that you haven't done. So who's to say that you as a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid, however on, when you start social media, if you're only looking at what people have done before, you'll never do what people have not done before. So you need to kind of see for yourself, what do you want to experience? Do you want to just be another copycat creator that's, always going to be behind because the person who's at the top is setting new trends, they're being more creative, they're doing bigger and better things? Or do you want to be the person who's setting the trends and building beyond what's already been done?
Yeah, Mr. Beast calls it the purple cow.
Yeah.
In fact, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I want to go into your like mentors, heroes, and big lessons. This is interesting because you've been in the industry for so long and you've worked with so many athletes. You've had a chance to meet and train with some legendary figures, people like Jay Cutler, Derek Lunsford, Larry Wheels, Bradley Martyn, and others who have been the biggest influences or mentors in your journey so far. Can you share one or two memorable pieces of advice or lessons you've learned from training with these elite athletes that really stuck with you and shaped how you approach your fitness and life?
So I'll start with fitness because that's what most people follow me for. Jay Cutler, I've followed Jay Cutler for years, like from his Living Large series, like all these over the time. Like people love these fitness creators, but like at the heart of it, I love bodybuilding, right? So Jay Cutler,
Yeah.
when I met Jay Cutler and got the opportunity to train with him and just speak with him, it was mind blowing to me. Like I never expected this to happen. And so I go in there expecting just absolutely, I'm just like taking notes, basically mental notes of everything that's going on. And he basically tells me, just do what feels good to you and don't let anyone tell you that something, just because something feels good to them, that you have to do it that particular way. He said, I've never trained to failure a day in my life. And I'm hearing things like this and I'm like thinking to myself, like people need more of this where they're just like kind of trust their instincts and try to experiment for themselves and then just build off of that and obviously take in from all the different people that you're learning from. But this is a 4-time Mr. Olympia, one of the best bodybuilders of the world, telling me basically like trust your instinct and if it feels good, go towards that direction. So that was a big learning moment for me where I was like, okay, well maybe I'm paying too much attention to what is working for other people and not enough attention to what's working for me and just continuing to
It's
drive
like
down
Big
that path.
Daddy reassurance advice.
Yeah, well, sure. I don't know if I'd word like that, but sure.
Yeah, all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah. From a social media aspect, when I first started, when I was 15 years old, and I went to Los Angeles for the first time, I connected with Bradley Martyn, and we filmed a few videos together with Larry Wheels as well. And Bradley straight up told me, "You've got to start speaking to a camera." And I think most people don't do this now. Like they don't just speak and tell who they are as an individual. So there is no separating or differentiating factor. They are just the shredded physique on the internet. And there's been moments up and down for me where I just, I'm just like, I don't do the best when it comes to these sort of things. But at the same time, you have to realize that is what separates you, is your story and who you are as an individual.
Yeah.
So that was a big learning moment as well. I've filmed with a lot of cool people that have been in the industry for a long time, and I've yet to have a truly negative experience. I think a lot of people have this like misconception about social media creators or celebrities or people who have followings that like there's a lot of egos, which there is, I'm sure there is. But I think like
That's everywhere.
I think the way you treat someone, it gets reciprocated right back to you. And I think you choose who you spend your time around. So if you're someone who's getting into social media with the expectation that everyone's going to be a bunch of like narcissistic people or egos, you're going to find it. You're going to find it 100%. But if you choose to spend time around people who are positive, people who are like-minded, like you guys, like I'm spending time around you guys or whoever, then you're gonna find more of those people, and eventually you're gonna build the community that you want to build.
Yeah. Tristyn, who's your dream collab?
Dream collab.
Bro, it's not Jay Cutler.
Yeah, that was
I
hard.
mean, it would have been Jay Cutler. That was like a crazy one for sure. I don't think I have one. Maybe like Cristiano Ronaldo would be really cool.
Fuck.
But I think like
Man, the shredded boys, huh?
Ronaldo or Messi?
I've always been a Ronaldo fan, but I'm more like Messi. That's what I'm like. I'm left-footed. I'm short.
You're left-footed as
Yeah,
well.
You
so,
like both. You like shredded Ronaldo
put 'em
shredded.
together,
You have Ronaldo's
I'll
physique.
take-
You have Messi's height. Do you have Ronaldo or Messi skills?
I'm probably closer to. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like I'm more like on the athletic side for sure. Because it's just more of Ronaldo. I would
Ronaldo,
say.
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say, but that would be a very cool like full circle moment. You know what I mean? Like collaboration like that. So like him or like a lot of the people that I would like to collab with are probably in the football and soccer world, even more so than the bodybuilding world, just because that's just not something that I've experienced as much. But Jay Cutler was definitely a bucket list one.
So you get to Ronaldo first. You need to absolutely mug I show speed on the
Sure.
football pitch. Just
Sure.
make him run circles around him.
Yeah.
Let Ronaldo see it. Do a see on him,
Yeah.
and maybe you get that.
Maybe it'll
moment
happen. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you should do a
God
90-day
willing.
like shred challenge with speed.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool concept. Transforming like someone who maybe could be crazy. if
Speed's
he
pretty
does-
He's
jacked.
getting jacked.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw a
he's
video of
pretty
him
jacked.
recently. I was like, fuck,
And he's strong
bro.
as well. Yeah.
He was saying he wasn't even training. He's just growing.
He's just
like
got those genetics.
crazy,
Yeah.
bro.
So I have a question that I already kind of asked you, but I'm gonna position it a bit more clearly for everyone to understand. So we're gonna go thinking legacy and impact. You're still early in your career, but you've already touched a lot of lives by sharing your journey. In one of your posts, you wrote about the importance of the community coming together and supporting each other in the gym. When you think long term, what kind of impact do you want to leave behind through your work and your story? In other words, what do you hope your legacy will be? How do you want to keep the course of humanity going in the right direction through the example you set or the projects you pursue?
That's a deep question.
Yeah.
I haven't thought too much about this, honestly. I want people to pursue the greatest potential that they could possibly pursue for themselves in every aspect of their life, because that's something that has pushed me in every single way to become the best possible version of myself. And I think that feeds into the people that are around them. You know, you talk about community. I think when everybody, when Scott works, when you work, when you see each other pushing to the absolute limits and then pushing beyond those limits, I think it makes everyone better as a whole. And so I think the pursuit of personal greatness in whatever you're truly passionate about, if you take that to the limit and whatever extremes that demands, then you're going to see all of the people that are around you and close to you expand and grow as well. And ultimately, I think I want that for myself. I want that for my brothers. I want that for my family eventually down the line when I have my family. And I think it's just those sort of morals I want to ingrain into the people that follow me. I want to ingrain that into the people that are around me. So
That's so good, bro.
Yeah.
I really fucking fuck with that so much.
I agree in that sense where like on Adam's point of what do you want to be known for? What's your legacy? I think a lot of people are so focused on what people are going to remember me for when they're fucking dead and 6 feet under.
Yeah.
And they lose the whole point of just doing what they want to be doing now and achieving what they want to be achieving and living the life that essentially they want to live.
Yeah.
So I think people could get so stuck on what is my legacy when I'm gone that they forget to play the game when they're on the field.
for sure.
I think
No?
if like I go a lot on walks and my brain thinks a lot when I walk. The cardio and just genuinely like it. I might go for a walk after this. And like one of the things I think
Bro's going to McDonald's after this.
Bro,
Bro, I
he's
swear
gonna
he's
walk
going
to
to McDonald's
McDonald's.
after this.
and
Yeah,
then,
that's enough. That's 200
He's literally
calories
going to
right
walk to
there.
McDonald's. It's fucking crazy.
so this is gonna hit home on what happened recently. So I was walking and I was like, if everyone has the mindset of leaving something behind, the world will be a better place. Look what Charlie Kirk did when he, had this whole assassination, you can call it.
Absolutely.
He's leaving something behind, although he's gone now. But it's a huge like
far
loss
greater than
for the
himself,
world.
for sure.
But
Huge.
if each and every one of us as humans go with the mindset of leaving something behind, like the fact that we left these, because I was walking by the outdoor gym that we did, the biggest one. I was seeing kids 10 years old like learn how to hang and jump from it. And I'm like, one day if I ever get a tattoo, I'll do something like leave something behind, or like something on those lines. Because I feel like if we all have that little bit inside us, like we did with the free gyms, the outdoor gyms, even with the content we're doing, we're leaving something behind here on the internet. So if we're gone one day, like what happened to Charlie Kirk, like now all his content is resurfacing and people can see for what the message is there. And when someone goes through that whole thing, the message is even stronger, more impactful. So I think if we all have that aspect behind us, like apart from maybe just doing it for ourselves, but if we have that little bit of leaving something behind,
live a purposeful life. Like a man with no purpose is no man at all. I truly believe
100%.
that. I
I
believe that.
totally agree with both of you there. 100%.
Yeah. And then we have something more on the angle of the free gym. So I'm going to ask you something related to giving back.
Sure.
Giving back to the next generation. So at Bulletproof, one of our missions is to make fitness more accessible. For example, we've built 5 outdoor gyms, offering free memberships to 18 to 20-year-olds as a way to give young people a head start in training. How important do you think it is to provide youth with free positive fitness opportunities like that? If community gyms or free outdoor facilities have been available when you were starting out at 15, how do you think having that support might have influenced your journey or the ones around you? And what advice would you give to an 18-year-old out there who's just stepping into the gym for the very first time?
I think it would change the lives of like so many kids. Kids they reach, like I said, they reach for vices. They reach for an escape. A lot of kids are insecure. A lot of kids are bullied. A lot of kids are unhealthy. A lot of kids, like, there's so many reasons for people to be in the gyms. They just don't have access to them. And so what you guys have done to provide that, I'm sure you've already seen with 18-year-olds now. I mean, I started at 15, so if I had that at 15, man, like, it would be the biggest blessing in the world, because the gym truly did save my life at a point where I was very insecure. I didn't really have any sort of outlet like that. And so I think that whether it's a kid who's being bullied or beat up at school, or someone who's struggling at work, the gym is always there. And for me, that's what kept me alive, was that, like, I didn't matter what the situation was, I could always rely on the dumbbells, and they'll have your back when no one else does, right? And so I think the more accessible, the less barriers that people can have to healthy living, the more likely we are to have a healthy society, and then everything just spirals from there. The gym is just one part of it, and then you get the nutrition, and you start stacking your wins. I hit the gym today, so now I'm gonna eat better, and then I'm gonna start eating better, so I'm gonna start feeling better, and then when I start feeling better, I'm gonna start living better, and then when I'm living better, I'm gonna start treating others better. And it's this spiral, this domino effect, that just builds and builds and builds. So what you guys have done so far is absolutely amazing, and I hope it just continues to grow, and hopefully I can be a part of that along the way.
Yeah, maybe we make gyms free in Canada.
I
Run
would
it.
100%. Yeah, like,
Run it.
let's do it.
Who's the other president? Or
Prime Minister.
Who's the guy in charge? Who's the big boss?
Carney, yeah.
Carney?
Yeah.
Carney, make gyms free, bro.
Does he go to the gym?
I don't know. Does Carney go to the gym? Not that I know of.
Carney, that's
Come on.
brilliant. We have a transformation, and we
Go
also
to the
have
gym, eh?
Eh?
You see, I'm learning. I just want to say, like, one thing. I'm really going to try and say it from an articulate point of view. It's a very delicate subject, but this whole Charlie Kirk death was really sad to me and really struck me, because like, no matter the political views or if you believe in him or not, people are rejoicing at the death of a human being, especially to someone who voiced his opinion. Like, that essentially was the case. It's a political belief. If you agree with it or not, it's voicing his opinion. And the ironic thing is, when you are authentic and true to yourself in a message, even us as a brand, we've always spoken out against the councils and against the government at the beginning, and against the country for not treating fitness with the priority that it deserves through COVID. We're a fat country, and health was like on the incline, and we spoke out. And even though that angered a couple of people, without that wouldn't have gotten the backing from the public, from the people, to create eventually that end goal of making 5 outdoor gyms and making gyms free. So that scares me, because I don't want other people to feel like they can't be truthful on socials, because effectively, it's your life on the line.
Yeah.
So I really relate to that, and we've had content pieces where we're so truthful, and it could pierce through the noise so much that, you start to think, should I hold back on these thoughts?
Yeah, what kind of world is it to live in where you can't
fucked up.
voice your own opinion?
It's fucked up.
It's horrible.
So this week was really crazy for me, just for that reason.
Absolutely.
It's like, imagine going out one day and something bad happens. So that is insane that we've gotten to the point where you can't even voice your opinion, and
for sure,
it's crazy.
It's a travesty.
I mean, it could be scary times if, like, there's big tech taking over the minds, like with AI and all of this stuff, and now we don't even. Like I was telling my team that today, apparently in Russia they found a cure for cancer, which is insane. And then the West is literally shitting on this guy who has traditional values that maybe 15 years ago wouldn't even have gone viral.
Yeah.
So I'm like, aren't we sometimes distracted? Aren't like we realizing that we're trying to create this huge gap opportunity between the rich and the poor by distracting the everyday person with this? For most of the issues are like really not issues,
right,
at all. Like we're making them issues, mirrors. And everyone's just commenting, wasting time. Like even I did a small piece for Malta, like just so they wake up a bit. And I was realizing there are so many comments. I'm like, do you think the founders of Apple were commenting on TikTok?
Yeah, so where can you actually have your impact? Is it in the comment section, or is it with your actions in every single day, right? And I think most people, it's a lot easier to speak from the comment section than it is to actually take action like you guys have with going to government, with speaking with these people and truly actually voicing your opinions. It's just a lot easier to be a keyboard warrior and type behind the screen and judge what other people are saying or doing than it is to actually
Yeah.
take action on it. So that's why I have a lot of respect for what you guys have done.
But I also think it's not easy for them because we have a mission. We've started Bulletproof in the last 4 or 5 years. These kids are living in this now moment where
Sure.
it's so hypnotic. It's so
Yeah.
like every scroll you're gonna see a
Yeah,
Charlie
it's
Kirk video. You're
built
gonna
for you
see
to keep
Yeah,
all
watching.
these
literally.
comments, and you're
Just
gonna
to keep you busy.
you're somehow, depending if you're swinging left or right, you're gonna get into a rage bait
Yeah.
argument.
It's built to make you angry.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's anger or joy or entertainment, they're gonna keep you on their platform, right?
15 years ago, we wouldn't be like
I didn't think
having
about
these-
any of this.
yeah.
Any of this 15 years ago. Like 10, like when I first started, now there's 15-year-old kids in these comment sections getting upset and worked up about this. In the school systems, it's the same way, right? It's truly broken how like people cannot just focus on the things that actually genuinely matter, but instead they're just inundated with
Yeah.
constant hits of either anger or dopamine and
Yeah.
all these senses that like
It's divided families, and I mean, I'll just say this as straight up: the more healthy families there are, the more the country is
Absolutely.
actually healthy.
absolutely
The more you can grow, create communities, create friends, connect with each other. The
Mhm.
more divisive like families are between husband and wife, family,
it
kids.
destroys everything.
I feel
Totally.
sorry for 15-year-old kids growing up today.
100%.
I
yeah.
cannot picture
Yeah,
being
I
in that
couldn't imagine
position.
it.
I can't.
Fuck.
Straight and plain.
We should go further than just gyms. But anyways, I mean, Tristyn, was a pleasure having you on this
Thank you for having me.
podcast. Scott, do you have anything else to add?
I have
for
one
the
last
questions,
question, and
just
this
in
is on the
case?
future of Tristyn Lee. Tristyn, if tomorrow the veins faded, the abs blurred, and the internet forgot,
Yes.
who is Tristyn Lee then?
Hopefully, who am I known as or who am I?
Who is Tristyn?
The same guy.
I'm still the same person. I still have the same morals and foundation. I'm still a God-fearing man. I still just try to be the best person that I can be. And so ultimately, none of this matters because it's not. None of this is eternal.
Yeah.
And so, I hope that that my morals go far beyond just what my body is. You know what I mean? And so that's what I want to be. I guess this goes back to the legacy question. What you want to be remembered as is that it's like you're not just the shredded body or whatever it is. You're the person who genuinely has something to stand for.
Yeah.
Grandpa Tristyn in 40 years is watching this back and saying, I was so mature. at
I'm still
23."
shredded at like I'm like, and I still got
It's
the
like
body.
he's gonna go viral
Okay,
again
his
for
brother
being,
knows.
for
His
being the
brother
most
knows.
shredded
from
50-year-old.
16 to 60.
From 15 to 50-year-old, man.
And his brother knows.
Crazy.
The smile says it all.
Thank you guys.
Sick, bro. I appreciate
Pleasure,
you.
bro.
And I mean, it means a lot for someone like you who's met so many big names in the industry to really believe in what we're doing. And, you know, I really appreciate you for that, coming down here, having us, hosting you with the team. And yeah, I hope to continue doing this together and coming up with ideas together, because who knows?
Absolutely.
You could hit me up with an idea that we could do more. Don't forget, what we're doing now is trying to get as much proof as we can to then show not just our own country, but outside of
The world, man.
Malta, the world. Like, let's stop getting distracted with all this stuff and let's get back to business.
I love it. No, I love what you guys are doing. When you guys first got in contact with me, I said these are two young guys. I thought you were younger than what you are, but you're still super young.
Yeah.
Two young guys who have a very clear vision of what they want, and they're gonna do anything that they can to get to there. So I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for what you're doing for the fitness
Respect,
world,
brother.
because it's gonna change a lot of lives, and it already has. And I'm just excited to see where it goes, and I'm excited to be a part of it along the way.
Thank you, brother.
Respect, bro.
Guys, if you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on who you'd like to see on the next episode. Super.